Well, welcome everyone to the virtual public meeting for the planned repair shop for city-owned vehicles that would be located at Raleigh Springs Civic Center today. And welcome to our public meeting today. And I'm going to turn it over to Director Paul Young, from the Director of Housing and Community Development for the City of Memphis, for opening remarks.
All right, thank you, Mary Claire. Thank you all for joining this presentation today. I'm just going to give you a few remarks and talk about what we've done to date, and Mary Claire will come back and give you a little bit more detail with regards to the repair shop for city vehicles that we are proposing to develop. But as you all have seen, if you've driven down Austin P, you know that we have a fantastic development. The city invested roughly $42 million to take a dilapidated mall and turn it into a series of public assets. So we have a new police station, a new branch library, an 11-acre lake, which also serves as a stormwater retention basin, a walking trail, as well as a skate park, in addition to 20 acres, which will be available for private development. So we believe that this is a great asset to the Raleigh community from an aesthetic perspective, but also from a functionality perspective. And so we're excited about this asset. We want to complement it with the repair shop to ensure that the vehicles for the city are able to be maintained. And Mary Claire will tell you a little bit about that starting now.
Thank you, Paul. All right. Okay, so the purpose of, apologies everybody. So the purpose of the repair shop is to repair city-owned vehicles. So this would not be working on private vehicles, only city-owned vehicles. Primarily this would be for police vehicles, in particular the traffic division, which is moving into the new police station at Raleigh Springs from their current home on Union Avenue. As you can imagine, patrolling all over the city of Memphis, they put a lot of miles on those vehicles, a lot of wear and tear, so they need a lot of repair. And then there's also other city-owned vehicles that are used by, say, Parks Department or our division, Housing and Community Development, Engineering, what have you. All those cars need occasional maintenance. So the type of work that would be done at this facility includes things like tire replacements, wheel alignment, oil changes and air conditioning repair, other similar servicing and repair to the vehicles, but it would not include anything like auto body repair, demolition, or complete engine rebuild. So it's a little bit more than what you would get if you just pulled into a typical car servicing business. It's a little bit more than that, but not a whole lot more. So it's pretty comparable to what any of us might go pull into and have done at a dealership or a private business. You can see on this site plan, all right, let me adjust my screen for a quick second. You can see on this site plan how Raleigh Springs Civic Center is currently laid out. Austin P is located to the top of your screen beyond the lake. There's an access road that comes from Austin P and then cuts all the way through the site to Scheibler Road. We have the skate park up here, the police station, and then the new branch library, which is almost finished. And so as you can see, the repair shop here would be located on the same side as the library, but closer to Scheibler Road. And one important thing to note is that the vehicles entering the repair shop would enter through the road, from the road that runs through the site. So they might come from Austin P or they might come from Scheibler, but it's important to note that there will not be cars coming directly in and out from the shop onto Scheibler, only by means of this one road where the cops and the library and everybody else use. So that's an important thing to note. The repair shop will have 10 bays for car repairs and 2 bays for motorcycles. It'll be a prefabricated metal building, so it'll actually be manufactured in a shop and then we'll erect it on site. And this is similar to the motorcycle garage that is already on the site right next to the police station. That's where traffic division stores their motorcycles to get them in out of the rain. This repair shop will be partially shielded from people who live on the other side of Scheibler Road, because as I think anybody who's familiar with this area knows, there's that long white wall that runs the length of Scheibler, and that row of crepe myrtle trees. You know, so all of that is staying in place, and we're actually going to add more trees on our side of the wall to help screen it even further from the residents who live on the other side of Scheibler. So this building will have I don't have elevations available for every side in this presentation, but I did want to in particular focus on the two sides that will be most visible, I think, to folks. So if you were on Scheibler Road and you peeked over the wall and through the trees, this is pretty much what you would see. It's not a very big building. And the north side is pretty plain, but again, this is going to have trees and a wall in front of it, in between it and the residents across the street. But the southeast elevation, this side of the building that faces the access road, this is where we decided to mix things up a lot. So you can see we've got these 6 car bays. So the bays where they drive the cars in and out, and then a screen over the door in and out of the building. And to give you a better idea of what that looks like, here's a rendering. And so if you're familiar with the Raleigh Springs site and the architecture there, you know that the police station and the new library were designed with a pretty modern type of design, right? And so we wanted this new repair shop to fit in with that. So one of the things that we wanted to do was to kind of mimic some of the angles and some of the materials that are used elsewhere on the site. And so as you can see, instead of just having a plain building with metal panels that just run, you know, from top, grooves running from top to bottom, we're working with the building fabricator to kind of mix up the panels. So things would be slightly different colors, they would be cut on different angles, which would make them look different colors. And so, you know, it starts to look a little bit fancier, gets a little more interesting with the angles and the grooves running slightly differently and the different colors. But that's all to mix it up a little more, make it a little more interesting to look at and help it blend in with the rest of the site. And here's another view so that you can see kind of what that looks like. And again, you can see how the grooves running different ways really kind of help make the building look different. It's still going to be fairly monotone. It's not going to have a lot of bright colors, but it will be interesting to look at because of these different angles. And then this is the side that will face the library. So you can see we also are opting to do some interesting things on the side of the building so that when you're parking at the library, you get a little bit of you don't get what looks like just a plain old boring metal shed, right? We want to make it look nicer than that. So the purpose of today's meeting is because the city of Memphis, just like any other developer out there, has to abide by the Uniform Development Code, right? The city of Memphis gets treated just like everybody else. So the site of Raleigh Springs Civic Center is zoned CMU2, which allows you to put in a business that services cars, but doesn't allow you to put in a business that does vehicle repair without special permission. And the Uniform Development Code has a very specific definition for what constitutes service and what constitutes repair. The type of work that we're going to do in the facility is mostly fits under the service definition, but there are a few things like wheel realignment that do come up under the vehicle repair definition. And so that's why we need to address this zoning issue. And the way we get the special permission to put in a facility that will do vehicle repair is by means of a special use permit. And we do an application for this special use permit to the Land Use Control Board. And the Land Use Control Board has the authority to vote to allow the special use permit or not. They can add conditions or work with us to change some things. And then the City Council also votes, after the Land Use Control Board approves it, then the City Council votes on it and has to approve it as well. In addition to the special use permit, we also have an issue with a setback that's on the property. Setback means that there's supposed to be a certain amount of space between where the property starts and where you can start building permanent structures. In the case of the Raleigh Springs Civic Center site, when the Raleigh Springs Mall was being developed, they put in a 200-foot setback, meaning that from where the property starts to where you can start building structures, there's got to be 200 feet. Okay, so the structures have to be 200 feet away from the property start along Scheibler Road. So the city is seeking to have this setback modified and allow us to put the repair shop closer to Scheibler Road. If we don't get this relief, then the only place to put the repair shop would be right next to the library parking lot. And we'd like to have some green space in between the library parking lot and the repair shop so that the library can have a garden, you know, just to have green space for people to gather in that's not right next to the lake, you know, another opportunity for greenery and communal space. And the last thing that we're requesting from the Land Use Control Board is relief from a restriction on the number of vehicles that can be parked on site, specifically inoperable vehicles, right? So vehicles that don't work. Currently, the zoning, again, that's CMU2, does not allow you to park more than 2 inoperable vehicles outside a business overnight. You could have more inside, you can have more in the parking lot during the daytime, but you're not supposed to have more than 2 inoperable vehicles parked outside in the parking lot overnight at a business. Now, this vehicle repair shop will have about 100 parking spaces. 20 of those are for staff. About 20 of those will be for cars that have been repaired and they're waiting on the police officers or the parks personnel or whoever's vehicle it is. They're waiting on them to pick it up. And then about 60 spaces will be for vehicles that are waiting to be repaired. Now, most of those city vehicles will be operable, right? They're just waiting on a tire fix or air conditioning repair or an oil change, but they work, right? But there will sometimes be a vehicle that doesn't work. Could be as simple as the battery is dead, right? So we don't know exactly on any given night how many vehicles will be there, but we do have to anticipate that it might sometimes be more than 2 vehicles that are inoperable that need to be parked at the site overnight. And so that's why we're asking the Land Use Control Board to modify that restriction for us. So one of the things that's important for everyone to know is that we are telling all of the neighbors about the fact that the city is making this request. This is required under the Uniform Development Code. And so for anybody who's watching this video, you may have received a postcard from the city of Memphis. We mailed it out to everyone who lives or owns property within 500 feet of the Raleigh Springs Civic Center. So all these folks who live, you know, to the south, or particularly all the folks who live to the east, we mailed postcards to all of these folks to let them know about what the city is doing and give them a chance to comment on our application. And anyone can read the application. It is available on the Land Use Control Board's website. You can go to shelbycountykn.gov and find the Land Use Control Board site. And you want to look up, this is application SUP 20-13. So really what that means is it's special use permit application number 13 from the year 2020. So just to kind of decode what that number means for you. We've also printed out copies of the application and left them at the Raleigh Library over on Powers Road. So you can just ask the librarians at the main desk and they can give you a copy of this application to read. Of course, if you want to take it home with you, you'd need to make a copy of it, but it's available there for you to read. And we will also add to that a copy of the printout of this presentation so that that will be available to view as well. And finally, you'll be able to view our special use application and a copy of this presentation on the Housing Community Development website, which as you can see on this screen, I forgot to enter the address, but it's really easy to remember because it's www.hcdmemphis, or is it right? It's HCD Memphis or Memphis HCD. I've already forgotten. I'll get that for you. We'll get that for you in just a second.
www.memphistn.gov/HCD.
That's right, we changed it. So thank you, Director Young. So www.memphistn.gov/HCD. So we'll have the application and the today's presentation there for you to view as well. So the Land Use Control Board is scheduled to take up the city's application for the special use permit and those other items on Thursday, October 8th, 2020 at 9:30 a.m. And you can watch this meeting live on the Division of Planning and Development's YouTube page. You can use this long address, or you can go to YouTube and Google Memphis Planning and Development, search Memphis Planning and Development. And if anyone would like to speak about the application, whether you're for it, against it, neutral, if you want to make a comment, that's every citizen's right. And you just contact Brett Davis at Brett, that's BRETT.Davis@memphistn.gov. So if you email Brett and you tell him your name and the phone number that you'll call into the meeting from, and this case number, SUP 20-13, he'll put you on the schedule to be part of the hearing. It's important to note you need to send your email by 8 a.m. on Wednesday, October 7th. So that's the day before the hearing. You need to send that email by 8 a.m. the day before the hearing to Brett in order to be on the schedule. And they're going to ask you to watch the meeting on YouTube until they get to this application and then have you call in. So you'll want to make sure that you have a setup. Maybe maybe you're watching on your computer and you're calling in on your phone, or you're watching on one phone and calling on another. You'll just want to make sure that you are able to do that. And at this time, I'll ask if there are any questions. Anybody got any questions that they want to say? Anything on behalf of the library? Any questions? Anything on behalf of general service? This repair shop will be operated by the Fleet Services Department of General Services Division. So do anybody from the library or general services have a comment that they want to make?
I don't have anything, Mary Claire.
Thank you. That for those who couldn't see, that's Michael King. He's the manager of the Raleigh Library.
I'll put my face up again so you can see me.
Thank you, Michael.
You're very welcome.
And we appreciate your assistance in getting the word out about this.
You're very welcome.
Okay. And Director Adams, did you have any comment to make on behalf of General Services?
No comment. I appreciate your presentation and the opportunity to allow the public to hear our presentation, and we welcome comment, and we welcome, we hope that we will be a welcoming presence in the neighborhood and can contribute to the charm and culture to this neighborhood. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. All right, so this is my last slide. Just want to put up here the contact information. For us, my name again is Mary Claire Boris, and I'm the manager of strategic initiatives at Housing and Community Development. And you can contact me at mary.boris, that's B as in boy, ORYS, @memphistn.gov. or you can contact the coordinator of strategic initiatives, who is Lindsay Jackson, and her email is lindsay.jackson@memphistn.gov. And you remember, make sure you spell that Lindsay, S-A-Y, so that it will come to her. And so if anyone has any questions or concerns, we'll be happy to talk to you and make sure that we address your concerns and hopefully get you any information that you need. And that actually concludes our presentation for today. I like to close on some of the pretty pictures of what we have already done at Raleigh Springs Civic Center. And I want to assure the community that it is our intention to create a repair shop that will not detract in any way from the beautiful center that we've created. It will in fact add to and enhance the center. We're going to make it one of the prettier car repair facilities in America, I think. So we want to make sure that we continue the high standards in architecture and design that we've already established for the site, and we are committed to doing that. And with that, I'm going to stop my screen share or ask Director Young, do you have any closing thoughts or comments?
No, thank you for attending or for viewing this session, and please let us know if you have any questions.
All right. Thank you, everybody.